Hi, my name is Kevin Tucker. I am the president of SOLitude Lake Management Company, and I'm here with you today to discuss the impacts of the new Clean Water Act NPDES permitting requirements on all of our clients and all of those others who own or manage lakes and stormwater ponds. As easy as it is to mentally check out when government regulations are discussed and the acronyms start flying, NPDES is a series of letters that will be very important to you if you own or manage a property with a lake or pond. NPDES stands for National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System, and it is the primary federal legislation that regulates point source pollution to the waters of the United States. A new permit has been developed as part of this program to regulate the application of pesticides to or near the water. Since much of the responsibility and liability for permit compliance will fall on our clients, as the owners or managers of the water bodies where the pesticides are applied, we are hoping that this presentation will provide you with some basic information about the permit and what you need to do to be compliant. And with us here today is Shannon Jr., aquatic ecologist with SOLitude Lake Management, one of our many talented and qualified staff working hard to meet our clients' compliance needs.
I'm Shannon Jr. with SOLitude Lake Management, and I'm going to be talking a little bit more about NPDES, or the NPDES permit. The Clean Water Act is the primary legislation in the United States that regulates water pollution. It was enacted in 1972 to eliminate the input of toxic substances to our waterways and help protect one of our nation's most precious resources. The intention of the act is to restore and maintain the physical, chemical, and biological integrity of the nation's waters so that they can support the protection and propagation of fish, shellfish, and wildlife, and recreation in and on the water. Section 402 of the Clean Water Act establishes the National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System, or NPDES, to specifically regulate point source discharges of pollutants to our waterways. The term point source refers to an identifiable effluent, such as a pipe or a channel, or in the case of aquatic pesticides, the nozzle or hose of the equipment that is used for the application. The law requires that a special permit is obtained for authorization to perform these discharges. And although aquatic pesticides are not pollutants, they are no longer exempt from this permit due to a recent court ruling. The final decision to change the law is the culmination of a lot of confusion and a long judicial battle that has been going on since the Clean Water Act enacted the first NPDES program. In 2006, the EPA specifically stated that aquatic pesticides did not require a NPDES permit as long as the applications were consistent with the Federal Insecticide, Fungicide, and Rodenticide Act, also known as FIFRA, which is another law that regulates these substances. However, there were numerous lawsuits after this ruling, and the 2006 legislation was overturned in 2009 by the 6th District Court. The EPA was granted a 2-year stay and a 6-month extension to give them time to develop the new permit. However, as of October 31, 2011, all aquatic pesticide application activities are now subject to NPDES permit requirements. There are 4 different types of aquatic pesticide applications that are covered by the new permit. They are mosquito and other flying insect control applications, direct applications to water to control aquatic pests, weed and insect control applications at the water's edge, and aerial forest canopy pest control applications. The application types performed by SOLitude Lake Management that will be subject to the permit requirements are herbicide applications for aquatic weed control both in the water and at the water's edge. There are many components of every NPDES permit that have been specifically tailored for the aquatic pesticide permit. These conditions must be met by either the decision maker, the applicator, or in some cases by both, and appropriate documentation of each must be maintained. Technology-based limits involve minimizing the amount of pesticides applied, including the consideration of integrated pest management strategies. Water quality-based limits involve monitoring during and after treatment for adverse effects. Applicators that exceed defined minimum thresholds, which we'll discuss more in a moment, will be required to prepare a pesticide discharge management plan, also known as a PDMP. A notice of intent, or NOI, is a pre-notification document that may also need to be filed for larger sites. There are new special conditions that have been developed to deal with adverse incidents and their associated corrective actions. Finally, record keeping and documentation standards have been determined. The most complicated and time-consuming components of the new NPDES legislation are the Pesticide Discharge Management Plan and the Notice of Intent. Fortunately, the annual thresholds that trigger these requirements are fairly large. Operators with small impoundments will be exempt from the additional paperwork, but they will still need to be compliant with all of the other permit requirements. Most states have their own versions of the permit, and the requirements may differ from those outlined in the federal permit. Most notably, some states will not require the filing of a notice of intent prior to discharging pesticides. And in addition to the new requirements of the aquatic pesticide permit, the existing regulations of FIFRA and the state pesticide regulatory agencies will still need to be followed. So what specifically does each individual operator need to do to be compliant with the new regulations? Unfortunately, because every state has a different permit and there are more stringent requirements for larger impoundments, there is not a single easy answer for everyone. However, as an owner or manager of a pond or lake, you will be a co-permittee with the applicator that is discharging pesticides on your site. It will be very important to ensure that the applicators that you hire are knowledgeable and compliant with the requirements of the permit and that they are appropriately licensed to perform the work. For most sites, you will need to be able to demonstrate that you have implemented an integrated pest management plan to utilize strategies other than just herbicide applications for nuisance vegetation control. And depending on the size of your site, you may also need to develop a pesticide discharge management plan and file a notice of intent prior to performing any treatments.
At SOLitude Lake Management, we are dedicated to ensuring that regulatory compliance is a team effort. We are working hard to provide you with all the resources and information necessary to make this an easy process. We utilize a specialized lake management software program to manage our application data, and many facets of permit compliance are already part of our daily operations. We are working with our existing clients and our industry partners to ensure that all of our operations are compliant with the permit requirements that you will face, and we can provide consulting services to anyone who needs help with their NPDES compliance program. And thank you for being here with us today. Again, my name is Kevin Tucker, President of SOLitude Lake Management, and we're here standing by to help you with any of your compliance needs.